morning. It's what, minus 15 or minus 16 degrees? I don't know. I can't tell anymore. Is Siddharth Lal of Royal Enfiled bringing some color to the otherwise pristine slopes here in Davos. Thanks very much for joining us, Siddharth. I can't not Well, joining us here in Davos on a very cold morning, it's what, minus 15 or minus 16 degrees? I don't know, I can't tell anymore. Is Siddharth Lal of Royal Enfiled bringing some color to the otherwise pristine slopes here in Davos? Thanks very much for joining us, Siddharth. I can't not start by asking you about what the outlook is as far as sales are concerned back home. You've actually been pretty resilient even through the demonetization phase, whether it's November or December, sales were up about 40-odd% for you. What does the outlook look like from here on?
Yeah, it continues to look good, and this is the motorcycle side of the business.
Yes.
It's continuing to look very good. We have good order intakes. We had a backlog of orders, and that helped us in November and December because there was demonetization issues which affected our stores as well, but we had a big backlog of customers. So a lot of them came in, a lot of them used credit cards and all of that, and we were able to pull through those months. It took a lot of effort from our side as well. It didn't happen automatically.
Sure.
But yeah, so moving on, at least that effect is now reduced. And January, February, March should be in the normal course for Royal Enfiled, which is still going pretty strong. So yeah, it's no worry at this point.
Okay, no worry at this point. But are you worried about the switch over to BS4 comes the 1st of April? It's not just production, but also inventory. Has there been clarity on what you do with unsold inventory that's not BS4 compliant?
Yeah, there's pretty much good clarity throughout the supply chain ecosystem. So it's a matter of management, really. It's logistics and management. So it's not a worry. Again, it's something that we have to work hard towards to make sure we get it right, so make sure there's not too much redundancy or lost inventory and stuff like that. But it's really, minor management issues rather than major policy issues that we're after. In the trucks business, it's always a bit more tricky because maybe even the sales have been a bit more volatile there because of demonetization, and BS4 will also be a bit more tricky only because it's of a much larger scale and it's very different requirements, but we'll pull through. I'm not worried about it at all.
You're not worried about it, but I'll come to CVs in just a bit. What will the switch over, as well as the fact that we're actually now seeing commodity prices move up, what kind of implications will it have on margins for you?
Well, there are always, and in this case, you're talking about two. We haven't seen anything on the commodity front, by the way.
Okay.
So switch over, we'll add more cost to our vehicles because of certain requirements, because of automatic headline pawn, but that's brilliant because that actually
it's a good thing.
It's a good thing. So we'll figure it out. We have pressures for margins to make the margins tighter, and then there are other things we're doing to improve our margins. So it's not a big worry at all again. So it's all in the normal course. So none of these things that you're talking about are really out of the normal course of business. We take it in our stride and we keep moving forward. Yeah.
What about the CV side? Are you seeing things sort of return to some degree of normalcy there, because sales were down, about 20% for the month of December?
Yeah, so that's always a bit trickier. It's much more competitive in our case as well, and we don't know. I mean, it could be a case of quite a bit of pre-buying in January, February, March before the BS4 norm comes in, and the trucks become much more expensive, right? Or quite a bit more expensive. So typically in other markets, in India and previous switchovers, we've seen a bit of pre-buying. So there could be a bit of a pre-buying spurt in Jan, Feb, March, but who knows? We'll see.
Okay, let me ask you now, you finally have an Indian competitor. You've so far been dealing with foreign competitors. You now have an Indian competitor. How does that change the landscape for you with the Dominar being launched?
For us, we don't see, firstly, too many people we don't see other motorcycles as competitors as such. We think of everyone as part of the larger community of motorcycling. So it's a very modern, business thing to see everyone as, hard competitors.
Collaborators.
Yeah, but that's not how we look at it. I mean, we think that if we can grow the size of the market, of the leisure motorcycle market, that's brilliant. We're the absolute leaders there. We have 95%. Well, in above 250cc, we're 95%. So there will be other players, and they're welcome to join us in our party, and hopefully they'll bring something else on the table.
What else are you bringing to the table? What can we expect now in terms of the new launches, refreshed models, a new platform in the second half of FY18?
You know a lot more than I do. Not a lot more than I would tell you, but we have a lovely new Reddit series which has just come out. It's our upgrade of our classics. We've got interesting, relatively newer things coming out the course of this year. But if you step back, we've actually done a huge amount of rethinking over the last 8 to 12 months because of the impending BS6 norms which have been notified now in 2020. And that's not far away actually, as far as we're concerned. So to create full new platforms which are BS6 compliant, which is a very, very different technology requirement, we've had to change a lot of our existing product plans to meet those futuristic requirements. So all that rejig is done. We've expanded tremendously in our UK Tech Centre, where we've got much more than we planned. We have around 100 people already in our Leicester Tech Centre, going up to 120 in the next few months. So we're doing a lot of our lead engineering there. We've got, of course, our Chennai Tech Centre, which has got a few hundred people as well. So huge amount of engineering work going on. You are going to see a lot of fun products in the coming year as well. Well, we're already in the coming year, so in 2017.
Yeah, exactly. So how soon?
Yeah, I mean, you never know with products, so I can't say, but within a year's time, you should see.
Bigger than what you're currently doing?
Well, yeah, you'll see, really cool stuff. So can't tell you much more right now.
How much bigger?
Well, let's just say that amongst other things, what we're working towards is our international markets, right? So we've been slowly making an entry. We've been working on our distribution and our brand right now. So we've got lovely stores in places like Jakarta, Bangkok, and quite a few in Colombia. We're entering Brazil. This is in addition to US, UK, Europe, which we've traditionally been present in.
You know, as you look into the future, and specifically as far as two-wheelers are concerned, in the context of what everybody's talking about, AI and using technology and so on and so forth, how different will the future look for two-wheelers?
Oh, that's what we're working on now. So it's, who knows? I mean, it could be entirely different. I think mobility and certainly in cars, I think there's going to be a tremendous change over the next 20, 30 years, because that whole
The
idea
death of the diesel engine?
not only diesel, petrol, even the death of the car as we know it.
The IC engine.
No, actually more than that, the death of the form of the car that we know it. Today, a car is very personal, and people have a lot of passion about a car. They want it beautiful, and they want lovely gizmos and features inside, and it's an object of passion, right?
Yeah,
And that's what it's been for the last century.
Yeah.
But I think what's going to happen is that it's going to go the way of becoming generic. And I think that's a great thing. I think cars are not going to be sexy anymore over time. They're going to become generic things which people don't care about, like my mum, who walks into any white car that she sees, because, you know, what I mean is that they're not, they're just things to get you from A to B. And that's what they're going to become, I think, over time.
Well, what does that mean then for brands and companies who, you know...
That's what we'll see the implications of that, and we'll understand that. But I think it's brilliant from a long-term perspective, because as long as it's an object of great desire, you're going to want to own a car, then you'll have to have real estate to park it. And, okay, there's a few millions of people who can afford to do that, but not billions of people. Billions of people cannot have cars and park them and drive them around. So if it entirely changes to a different idea, and maybe to motorcycles, which you can proxy your proxy your love for personal vehicles into a small little compact motorcycle rather than this huge lumbering car. Maybe that's the future. I don't know.
Let me end then by asking you, what is the aspiration that you have for Royal Enfield over the next 5 years?
5 years is much simpler. 20 years, I still don't know.
20 years, I wouldn't even ask you that. I don't know where we're going to be in 20 years or how the world is going to shape up.
So actually 5 and 10, I know. And in 5, we want to be certainly leading the middleweight motorcycle market in the world. And that's really the only real ambition. And in 10, well, actually it's the same thing, but just more so. So the mid-sized motorcycle market in the world is very small right now. So in 10 years, we expect to grow that market also tremendously. So to take up a lot of, you know, people who are in smaller commuters, but also downsize people who are in these big lumbering motorcycles to, you know, let's say more accessible, fun motorcycles.
So middleweight it's going to be.
Middleweight, as I am, hopefully.
So that's always a pleasure. Thanks very much for joining us on CNBC TV 18. Good to have you here with us in Davos.
Thank you.
With that, it is time for us to wrap up the CNBC TV 18 special from all of us here. Goodbye, and many thanks for watching.